Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Lipedema Lex and I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about some of the tools that are in my lipedema toolbox. Just to get started, what I mean by that is that sometimes you'll find that you start accumulating little things to help alleviate some of the consequences of having lipedema or lymphedema, such as the things you see here on the desk. I'll try to make this video super brief because it's just about like some of the things that I use in my daily life to reduce my my size of my legs. And I noticed that a lot of people were quite interested in some of the tools I use, and maybe I can just elaborate a little bit more here on YouTube. So to start, I would say it's always a good idea to already have like a doctor or a certified lymphatic therapist or whatever the equivalent is in your country, all lined up and already giving you help and tips and tricks. All else failing, meaning like, it's just really difficult right now with the global COVID-19 pandemic to get access to those kind of things. Perhaps right now you're not able to go to a therapist, you're not able to go to a doctor, and you just want to try something at home. I'll start by giving you tips on what you can do to try at home that's super low risk. So I'll start with this. It's a dry brush. It's made of natural bristles, some of them come with these little nubs on the other side that are nice for massaging your skin and getting some what is called myofascial release, if that's right. It's just really good at softening up any fibrosis you may have, just getting blood flowing in your skin. The dry brush should be soft, made of real bristles, as I said before, and it should be done where you're actually pulling the skin in the direction of your lymphatics. I would say that doing this maybe just once a day, followed by a nice moisturizing, or like going to the shower and moisturizing in the shower, is always a good idea. But for the general population, I would say this is super low risk and you should try it. Next up would be the tape measure. So with the tape measure, you just want to track how big or small you are on a weekly basis. However, I would say on a weekly basis would pretty much give you like a round sort of average idea of what your limb size is at any given point. When you combine measuring yourself with other things like exercise and diet, what I mean by diet is like a specific lipedema or lymphedema diet, meaning reducing as much processed foods, salts, sugars, those kind of things within reason out of your diet, you can track what it is that you're eating and how it affects your body. And so having this tape measure can really help you with the next step, which is getting compression, but also just keeping a diary and measuring how you've been doing over the course of the year, how you've been doing over the course of the month. And I definitely think that going forward, you're gonna see that everyone around you is measuring themselves in like, maybe not their weight, but their circumference in metric. So that leads me to my next tool, which is compression. And so here in the States, we have it kind of bad. The reason for that is because we do not, most insurance companies, private insurance companies in the United States, think that these garments are actually extra and not necessary. And there's a reason for that. And the reason for that is in a video and a playlist that I will put up in a card here. It's really, really interesting the way our health system works, and it's extraordinarily difficult to change things that are already in place. So I'm not even going to bother explaining that. But let's just say we don't get covered for these garments when we have a standard private health insurance, which is what a lot of people in the United States have. We get covered by our jobs. And it's the equivalent of insurance in like Canada or France or Germany or Switzerland. And so it's pretty, comprehensive, but typically dental and eye is separate and you have to pay for it. And most jobs will pay for it like either half or all of your insurance in the United States. So what that meant was that My first purchase was these from Medi, and these are the Mediven Plus in petite, and I got them in class 1, which is 20 to 30 millimeters mercury, meaning that's the amount of pressure that's being put on my ankles and my feet. And so these cost me around, I want to say like 120, 125 US dollars. And they're circular knit, so they still allow some expansion horizontally, which is a big no-no for us, especially since I'm really trying to contain my lymphedema, because that's something that concerns me a lot more than my lipedema. So this, even though I like them, they're actually pretty comfortable. They're super like scratchy, and the fabric is super, super, super not nice to my skin. It also doesn't contain anything in my toes and the top of my feet, so I probably need to get some toe caps. But in other words, this is great if you just want to see if like you're gonna like compression. It's a low, believe it or not, this is low cost. This is a low cost entry to real medical grade compression. The minimum, the absolute minimum that I've heard most therapists, like certified lymphatic therapists, say is that you need compression level 2 when you have lipedema. And I can understand why, because these felt like they were hugging my skin, but they weren't really compressing anything. I take them off and there weren't any like marks on my skin, for example. So these alone might be a great inexpensive option to just enter the world of compression, but soon enough you're going to realize that you need flat knit, especially in the colder months. In the cooler and the warmer months, I noticed that this is a lot more like easy to wear than the flat knit, and so that leads me to talking about the flat knit. So with the flat knit, if you're considering getting surgery, number one, you're going to have to get these, and you're going to have to get them custom, which in the United States, brace yourselves guys in Europe, because you're just going to laugh at us once more, like you haven't stopped laughing at us already. Typically $800 for a pair of up to the waist custom compression. That was what I was quoted from many, many, many places. $800 for a pair. And that's not even with the custom stuff added. That's just for the base pair. They take your measurements and they give you the color black and they send you on your way. However, you can get these in the United States, these leggings, these thigh highs. I got this for $100 for one, and then I paid another $100 to get another one for my other leg. However, my left leg has the most lymphedema, and so I use this mostly on my left leg only, just to get it to the same size as my right leg. So this one's really thick. It looks like you're wearing a turtleneck on your leg. It's super, super thick, and there's very, very little horizontal stretch. It's a very, very short knit. There's a lot of stretch vertically, to the point where my other legging is like super long because I stretched it too much by accident. Now I have to go put it in the dryer and shrink it. This one, I can tell you for sure, there's a reason why you get it custom. It fit me great up until my knee, and then as soon as it started hitting the thigh, that's when I noticed that it was a little bit too loose. And hopefully when my sewing machine arrives, I can undo the seam and then cut it smaller and then make it a little tighter for myself. But that's because I have a machine that will be able to do that particular stitch, and I'll be able to make it work for me. The other thing too is that I have long legs for a petite person, but not long enough for these stupid leggings. And so these leggings kind of ride right up my crotch into my groin, and they just hit right up there, up until like really right up my butt. And so it's really hard to keep them on because they keep flopping and folding over, which is fine because they don't slip. But one of the leggings, for some reason, already started to stretch out a little bit and started falling at my thigh. And so it's really important that this silicone patch right here is like nice and gripping your leg. And you'll know that this one has more grip on your body because when you take it off, even after like 4 hours, you'll see the markings on your legs. Unlike with the circular knit that you won't see that on your legs. You won't see any marks on your legs because it's really not that compressive. And so this is medical grade 1, 20 to 30 millimeters mercury. And again, it is recommended that you go minimum compression level 2. However, the problem is this one is not custom and this one only comes in class 1. So, you know, this is the cheapest option for me. It was only $200 for flat knit, and it's not custom, but I can customize it here at home myself, luckily. So this is one of the other really affordable ways to get into compression. This will not satisfy your surgeons, however. You will have to get custom. So whatever your surgeon went ahead and quoted you, you're going to have to tack on another $800 minimum if you're in the United States for custom compression. I don't know what else to tell you. I'm sorry. But I have to say that these work so much better. And if you're like me and you start having like fatty pockets around your ankles, or if you have like some areas that you feel like are really fibrotic and you want to add some padding to it, that's what we're going to talk about next. And so you have these things, and these are things that you can put around your ankles. And so this one's from Juzo. Anyway, this is just an ankle pad. I'll put a link in the description below. And these are soft with like lumpy bits of foam inside, and it's got like nice cotton fabric outside, and you just put it on your ankle, on either side of your ankle. And I'd recommend this for the outside of your ankle. So I bought 2 because I put them on the outsides of my ankles. And so this side runs up the length of the back of your leg, and then this side runs up the front of your leg where your leg pivots like this. So it's going to be like this. And I find that this is comfortable, but this is really not meant for like a full day session with your flat knit. This is great if you're going to do the short stretch bandaging technique and you have lymphedema. And I'm just starting to get into that now. And so I find that this is like super, super helpful. My legs look like I had surgery on them after I take this off. It's just amazing how much it really compresses and allows the fluid to go right back up my leg. And as a result, I haven't had to wear compression as much because my legs are just super, super skinny at the ankles now after wearing these for a few days. And I have to say, like, all of this compression really does help a lot, and it doesn't hurt to at least try it, especially with one of the really affordable options that I mentioned earlier. Now, if you don't have such severe swelling down in your ankles, but you just want to get a little bit of fluid going back up there, or maybe you're post-surgery and you're doing things at home and you've already gone to like your CLT, your certified lymphatic therapist, and you just want to like do it on your own. Let's say it's like week 4 after surgery. You can try something similar to this. It doesn't have to be this, but this is also good. You can just buy foam, just regular old foam at the craft store. Shop online if you don't want to go out. And so what this is a viewfinder pad for camera operators. And so big, movie cameras or TV cameras have really big viewfinders. And so this is the pad that goes on your eye, and this is the part that goes onto the camera. And these are wonderful for your ankles because they completely surround your ankle and really get that like fluid out of there. And so this I found has been the best for an all-day session with my compression garments. And you can see the before and after on my Instagram. And it has just like really changed everything. These are so comfortable because they lay like super flat against your skin, and they really like press up against you, and they feel so comfortable because they have like a soft, what is that called? A soft leather, sort of like suede, ultra suede lining on one side, and it's super comfortable against your skin. Like you won't even notice that you're wearing it. And honestly, I wore these out shopping one day when I had to go to the post office the other day, and I don't think people even noticed because it's really discreet how like flat they become. So this is my this is like my favorite, and I'm really lucky that my husband was a camera operator at one point, and so we just had these laying around the house. However, if you want to buy them on your own, they can get a little pricey. They're like what, like $6 to $10 each, not including shipping. And so I don't know, I would just measure your ankle, measure the viewfinder sizes. You can get these on eBay the easiest, not really on Amazon, but eBay has these a lot, and they're called viewfinder eye pads or eye cushions, and they're super comfortable. I'd highly recommend them. The other ankle pads that I use are these. They're called Comprex, and they're from L+R, and L+R also makes these flat knits. They're sold under the brand Solaris, but they're actually from L+R. And so these pads are used a lot for lymphedema, but my lymphedema again is not super severe, and it's also pretty treatable. And so these are really firm ankle compresses. I mean, you can put them anywhere. Like if you've got like a problem here, you could easily put them here. And you should always put the round side against your skin. Always have the flat side being bandaged. I found that they were a little bit too dense and a little bit too hard on my ankle. There wasn't enough squish, and it really hurt. Like I found that like one day I tried using them and I had to take them off after like 2-3 hours. They're actually more like these, so they're probably better under short stretch bandaging, which is just a very like short-term relief thing, just to get your your leg size down or your limb size down, and then after that you undo all the bandaging and all the foam and you put your compression on after that. Because with lymphedema, unlike lipedema, really what you're doing is starting out really swollen. You're getting all the fluid from your toes to your knee up, and as soon as your limb size is smaller, you quickly take off all your bandaging and all your foam, and you quickly get that compression on as soon as possible. And so for lymphedema women, it's very different than for lipedema women in the sense that getting ready to go out with your compression on can take up to an hour just to, and that's not even like showering. That's like after you shower, it can take up to an hour just to get your limb size small enough to put the compression on, because the compression really is just a tool to get the limb to stay a certain size, and to not increase, which is why I don't think that the circular knit is super good if you think that you've got water in your legs or if you've got some kind of fluid in your legs. And you'll know, like there's a particular feeling to your legs when you've got fluid building up in your legs. You'll have this like soft kind of swollen look. If normally you see your skin and it looks like this, and then one day it suddenly looks much smoother like this, you've got fluid in your legs. And you should really compress your legs using your hands, do the manual lymph drainage, and then put your compression on. I think that the number one mistake is putting your compression on without actually moving any of the fluid out. That's just my opinion. But honestly, you've got to talk to your therapist about how to actually do the manual lymph drainage and how to actually wear your compression, because it really doesn't make much sense if you're super swollen, you put the compression on and the fluid doesn't go anywhere. Actually, you could be doing some damage to your limb. So that's it for these little ankle things. Last, if you're going to be doing any kind of compression stuff, is gloves. Gloves are so important. The first gloves that I bought were these super cute, adorable gardening gloves. They have like a rubber grip, and I admit they're a little grippy. They're not super grippy, but they're a little grippy, and they're so cute. They are so adorable. I bought like a 3-pack, and they're all really cute. And so we use these to get my circular knits on, and circular knit is super hard to put on because they keep sticking to your skin at every point, and so you really have to like work the stocking to get them up. So these are not ideal. If you can get that plastic dip spray or like that dip, put these in them and like get them really sticky. Make sure that the plastic dip is like sticking out and pointy. But these are super cheap. I got a 3-pack for $6 at my local garden center. And these are the best. These come from all the major brands. Juzo, Jobst, maybe L+R? Yeah, maybe even L+R. All of the big brands sell these. So these are just the same as the gardening gloves, only they're super, super, super grippy. And I'm not even sure if you can see the grip here, but it's like a completely different texture. It looks like they did the grip and then they just started touching like a floor to get it like super spiky. And these got like great grip. I love them. These make putting on your compression, in other words, donning, like super simple. Like now with the flat knit and the gloves, I can get these on in like 5 minutes. And I typically do it right in the morning, right before I start working. People at work have no idea. I'm just like, hey guys, good morning. I'll be right back. I lay on the floor, put on my compression, use the gloves, and I'm back within like 2 minutes, and they have no idea what I just did. And I have to say that the gloves really changed my life enough that the gloves alone made me want to do this whole video and tell you guys about how these tools are super important. All right, so that's it for me. I have to say that it was a pleasure talking to you. Remember to always, always, always talk to a doctor or your therapist or someone who you think is a reliable source of information. Like maybe it's someone who does acupuncture for you, someone who does reflexology for you. But definitely always consult with someone who has more experience in this regard. There are even some CLTs on YouTube and Instagram who you can reach out to, and they're a great source of information. Some of them have books, so definitely buy their books because you might find that some secret tips and tricks are there. But anyway, guys, thank you so much. Look forward to seeing you in the next video. Please subscribe so that you'll know when the next video comes out, and don't forget to hit the little bell button. Don't forget also to like this video if you found any of this stuff useful. I'd like to know what tips you thought that I left out, so definitely leave me a comment below letting me know what I should add in the next video and what kind of topics you'd like to see me cover next. All right, everyone, be safe out there. Bye.